Hi, welcome to Nakama News. I'm your host, Jordan Golde, with my co host here, Jamie Lawagi. And today we're going to be doing a One Piece draft. The topic One Piece Funny Moments.
The common news, you'll see friendship when you view the common news. Well, everyone lends a helping hand or two. I'm glad you could stick around for a minute now. You're always welcome back. The common news.
All right, so today we're doing the One Piece Funny Moments draft. Let me explain the rules to you, Goldie, so you understand. All right, so we're gonna have 5 rounds total, where we're gonna alternate picks one by one. If I pick something, you cannot pick that. Uh, we can choose anything from the anime or the manga, dub or sub. Either one is totally fine. And at the end of the video, we will let our viewers decide who the winner is. All right. And today I'm drafting first, partially because you made me wait so long this morning. And I don't want you to take my first pick. I'm sorry.
It's okay, go for it.
Sounds good. All right. This is a big deal, man. This is a big deal. This is the first ever pick and the first ever draft. I assume we'll do more of these types of drafts in the future, don't you think?
I do. These are going to be fun. Let's see what you got.
Sounds good, man. For the first overall pick, it's obvious, right? Like everyone's got to know. Everyone's got to know, and you're gonna be mad. You're gonna be mad, because you probably wanted this pick pretty bad, but that's okay. But for first overall pick, give me God Usopp
Mm.
from Dressrosa, baby.
Uh,
And I want it specifically from the manga. All right, and specifically from the One Piece scans translation, not even the official. All right, and let me tell you why. Let me tell you why. I've seen this scene, I don't know, probably like 10 times by now, and I've watched both the dub and the sub. The dub, they butcher it, in my opinion. It's not. You can't even tell it's that funny. The sub is pretty good, but the initial or original like fan translation was, in my opinion, they got it the best, just because there was the whole translation issues from kind of Usopp's moment. But let me describe the moment, and then let me tell you why I think the the manga part is so much more funny. Okay,
okay.
so it's in Dressrosa. Usopp's getting beaten to a pulp by Treble and Sugar. Usopp knocks out Sugar after he like ingests that whatever thing he was going to shoot at her, and he like spews out fire and smoke from his face, knocks her out, saving all of the toy slaves in that area. Um, and then the giant starts holding up Usopp by his arms like this, and Usopp is a bloody mess. Can't even really speak, can't move. He's looking like the most messed up in the whole series. And that's when the ceiling breaks, because they're inside. The ceiling breaks. This beautiful light shines down on Usopp. You get reaction shots from all the characters being like, oh my gosh, this is so divine. Um, and everyone's really amazed. And Usopp, so this is where it's really funny, is in the translation, the fans translation, he says something along the lines of, "Fools, lower me down, unhand me, blood is spilling down my face. Big guy, do it, you jerk." And if you like break down all the words that he says, all the people could hear from him because he's so injured, can't even spit out words. Is follow me and I will guide you, like from those English words. And they're just like, this is a heavenly divine moment. God, Usopp's dying, and he's like trying to get him to set him down because he's in so much pain, and all they get out of it is Follow me, I will guide you. Top tier moment.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, that was my number one pick. You definitely took it from me. It's a little heartbreaking, but I don't know why that scene is so iconic. But every time I think about One Piece funny moments, it's always the first one that comes to mind. Partly because it's just so over the top. I love how it's a little ridiculous, but it's ridiculous in the best One Piece way, and I love it so much. Usopp is just getting tortured while being praised at the same time. I love that.
It's always Usopp. Usopp. I
It
knew,
is.
I knew you were gonna have that number one. To be completely honest, that wasn't even my top ranked one, but I couldn't
Oh
lose it.
no,
I couldn't lose it. I had to be smart.
I had to be smart.
All right, brother.
Okay.
What's your first
Well,
pick?
um, I've thought about this a lot. I think I have to go with uh, Enaru's surprise face or Nell, depending on what you read, on on Sky Island. Uh, and I love that scene so much. That's just iconic. That's for me as a teenager watching that scene. I remember dying. And just to set it up for anybody that doesn't know it, it should be. I love describing that is because Luffy always had to come up with these creative ways to fight Logia types back before he had hockey, and that made for some of the funniest parts of One Piece to me. I love how he was Anel's natural enemy, and when the first time the lightning doesn't work on rubber, you see his face just droop. Oda is so great at drawing some of the funniest faces I've ever seen. And the setup, you've been waiting the entire arc just to see any sort of chink in an Enter's armor, and that's the first one you get, and it's golden. And I don't know if I can put anything else above that.
Yeah, before that moment, Enel was so like cocky, untouchable. He's just destroying everyone. He's omniscient, like just sees everything, and he like does his strongest lightning attack. I forget if he does one or two, and absolutely nothing. It doesn't affect Luffy at all.
He keeps going. He gets stronger and stronger, and every time,
That's a
I
strong
love
pick.
that.
That's a strong pick. I'm happy for you. That's a strong pick.
Thanks, man.
That
What
that
you got
also
for me?
that also spurred a lot of there's some repeat NL faces down the line. Like it kind of started its own
Mhm.
comedy train.
Yeah, there are, and that's some of my favorite comedy One Piece.
So that's pretty good, man. That's pretty good. All right. You ready for my second pick?
Yeah, what's your second pick?
My second pick is my true first pick. For me, no doubt the funniest moment of One Piece is Thriller Bark. Luffy is walking through the graveyard. Fun fact: I rewatched just to prepare for this video. I rewatched that scene, and before the scene even happens, I'll get to it eventually. But before it happens, they're walking through a graveyard. It's like Sanji, Frankie, Zoro, Luffy, and they're in a graveyard. And Luffy's like, "Oh, we should have a picnic." And Sanji's like, "No, we can't. It's gonna ruin the aroma." And he's like, "It's Luffy's like, it's food, man. It's food. It's good." Um, Immediately after that hilarious comment, one of the graves, a zombie starts coming through the ground, and Luffy just watches him emerge, silently walks over to him, and then just pushes him back into the ground without saying anything. And then they're like, everyone's freaking out, like, it's a zombie, it's a zombie. And Luffy's like, oh my gosh, it's an old man with serious injuries. And it's me
Forgot
every
about that line.
yeah, this is like they're like the crew's like he's like it's a zombie, you idiot. Um, but to me that is top tier One Piece comedy.
Oh, that is great. That is great. I should have figured that would be your number one pick, and that's just such classic. It's classic Luffy combined with delayed reaction. I love how everybody else just kind of goes along with it at first. They're like, "What are you talking about?" But at first, when he pushes into the ground, they just kind of watch him do it. Like nobody's like, "Hey, what are you doing, Luffy?"
Yeah, it's the pure just like blank face, just pushes him back down. Like even the zombie doesn't understand what's going on. Elite humor. All right, Goldie, give me your second pick.
Okay, for my second pick, this is gonna sound a little broad, so stay with me. But I gotta go with it anyway. And I'm gonna say Soge King
Okay, okay. So
specifically, and I
just
will narrow it down, but I'll say the intro specifically. So I loved Soge King so much because you had just gone through like the darkest moment in One Piece. Like they'd never gotten that kind of vibe before in One Piece, really. And the way that Oda brings in the humor is he makes Usopp create a second personality of himself, dress up as a hero, and as soon as they finally need him, while he's sitting there doing nothing for forever, he comes out as a new person, obviously hiding it, and he starts singing it, and he creates his own theme song. And that theme
and
song,
it's good.
it was good. That's what made it so funny. Is like, where did this come from? I've never seen anything like this in One Piece before, and it stayed with it through the whole arc. I loved all of Sogeking so much. But if I have to narrow it down to one moment, it's got to be the intro.
Hey, I'm happy to give you Sogi King in general. I'm happy to give you that because part of it was funny too. Is everyone knew it was Usopp except for Luffy. Like I'm pretty sure Luffy just thought it was the new guy, and they're like, "You
It's
idiot,
so
that's
great.
Usopp." And he's like, "No, it's not Sogi King."
Did the government know at first? I don't think so because they had the wanted. They came out the wanted poster of Sogeking, and it wasn't
Yeah.
like Usopp.
Yeah, no, they
So
definitely did not keep the Usopp. Usopp's had the craziest wanted posters. He's just been Usopp, and then he was Sogi King, and then he was God Usopp. But yeah,
Usopp's so great.
that was one of the best One Piece songs moments of all time too. That is good stuff.
Thanks, man.
Nice. All right, let's see. I like this. You have a different list than me, and that's good. You haven't knocked out my top five yet. Um, For my third pick, this is again we're going back to Thriller Bark, the funniest arc in the series. Okay, the first time that the crew encounters the hollow ghosts from Perona.
Hmm.
All right, yeah, yeah. So they
Yeah,
all
yeah.
come in like negative, negative. Um, so so the scene goes like this: they encounter the ghosts. Luffy's like, "Oh my gosh, there's ghosts." He's like, "I'm gonna catch one." So he's trying to catch one with a net. Frankie then releases fire from his mouth. Classic Frankie, trying to burn him. And then the ghost goes through Frankie. So Frankie's the first one to get affected. And he's like, I suck. I've always sucked. I like everything sucks. Everything I've ever done sucks. And then he's like, they should remake me into a ceiling fan. It's just, which by itself is funny. But then it
The one-liners.
keeps going. They go through Luffy next. Luffy says, I want to die and be reincarnated as a clam. I should specify this is from the dub, by the way, not the sub. The sub's kind of different, but I thought the dub was actually funnier. And Luffy's like, I can't cut it as a human, is what he says. And then probably the best part, just comedic genius by the writers. Zoro, it shows Zoro, and he's like, wow, these guys are so weak. You know, they're just being affected by small little ghosts. And he's like talking a big game. And then one goes through him, and then he, the castrates himself, goes on the ground and says, "I'm not even fit to be dog food." It's just the ceiling fan, clam, and dog food are elite, just things to mention there. That's so funny.
I love the one-liners from that scene. So you said that the dub and the sub were different. I thought I remembered one of the one-liners being something about a water flea, and that was my favorite one. Was that part of the sub only?
I think so. Yeah, I watched that one. I think is it Luffy that says water flea? Or maybe
I
Zoro.
thought it was Luffy or Zoro, so it
Yeah,
must be a little different. I see what you mean.
yeah, and they're both funny. They're both good, and that's why
They
it's fun
are.
to rewatch it in both the dub and the sub. But Zoro saying I'm not even fit to be dog food is
It's hard to beat too.
kills me. I was crying laughing rewatching this. This is
Oh god, rewatching some of these has been really great.
yeah. This has
All
been
right.
the best for video of all time.
I did rewatch some of these, and are we ready? Are we ready?
Yeah,
Are
give me
we
your
ready for
third
the
pick.
third?
Give me your third
All
pick. I
right,
think
all right, all
you're
right.
clearly
Coming
losing
at
right
you.
now.
Clearly losing. We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
Uh, so for my third pick, this one's gonna come out of nowhere. I get the feeling this one's gonna come out of nowhere. This is about my boy Sanji. Sanji gets a moment on here, and there's a moment in Sabaody where Sanji meets a guy who looks similar to him. You might know him, but that guy turns out to be the drawing on his wanted poster exactly. And when he sees that poster, the reaction that Sanji had has me on the floor rolling every single time because there's a moment specifically in that reaction where he's essentially spouting gibberish, but he's all super angry. And then Zoro said something, and he's like, he's like, he makes fun of his wanted poster, and Sanji turns around, and the face that Sanji makes, he's got like ghost eyes. And he's like drooping down his face, and as Zoro is making fun of him, he's just like gibberishing over Zoro. Just, and oh god, I loved Sanji's reaction to his wanted poster on Sabaody so much. I'm not sure if anyone's gonna relate to that one, but that's got to be a top three pick for me because it was so funny.
Bro, that's an elite pick. I think that's a sleeper pick right there. There are people that are so passionate. When I was doing the research, I was surfing some Reddit posts to see what some people thought for ideas to scenes to go back and rewatch. That one was there, and a lot of people were commenting about how Brooke like laughed so hard he like was on the ground with that scene. And I'm pretty sure doesn't Zoro say something like I don't see the difference, like
That's it. That's what he says. Then Sanji turns around, he's like, and then angry face. I don't even know what kind of face that was, but it's up there with Enaru's face for me. Just not quite at the same level.
yeah, it's like that ghoulish looking face.
Oh, I love Oda's drawings sometimes. They're amazing.
And what's the name of that guy? Because he's got the bull, he's got
I
Usi.
know. I was hesitant not to say it because I was like, I'm gonna be embarrassed if I don't remember his name, but I don't.
Yeah, no,
Starts with an R. Doesn't
that's a good moment. That's a good moment. I respect that. All right, all right, all right. Sanji meets his wanted poster lookalike. All right, here's a good one. And honestly, I I forgot about this, but to me, this deserves to be top five for sure. This is a scene from Fishman Island. Okay,
it? Okay. Okay.
my fourth overall pick here. Scene from Fishman Island. Zoro, Brook, and Usopp are all like captured in like a cage in a room, and water's like filling up, and they need to get freed. So, so Brook reveals that he can go into like his spirit form, and he's like, "I'll go find Papagoo, the little starfish guy," and
Yep.
and Papagoo is like in a dark room by himself, and all you hear, you don't see anything other than Papagoo. All you hear is Brooke going, "Papagoo, Papagoo, I found you." And of course, Brooke shows up in his green ghost form or whatever, and Papa Goo freaks out. I'm pretty sure does like an NL face. Um, but that moment when Brooke's searching for Papa Goo, because it came out of nowhere, we had never heard Brooke make a sound like that before. Papa Goo. Just,
Didn't Brooke chase Papagoo around the place for like a good episode or two too? Like a good chapter?
so, like high That's Brooke so scary. Yeah,
That's a great pick. I like that.
yeah, that's one of
That's actually a moment I forgot about.
I remember watching it. And I was like, "This is elite humor." Yeah,
There's so many little scenes in One Piece. It's so hard to rank, but we're gonna do it here, so we're gonna keep going.
yeah, yeah. Give me your fourth.
All right. The fourth was hard. There's two moments I had to choose between, uh, but this one beat it out, and this one goes way back. We're going all the way back to Drum Island,
Ooh.
where we met Chopper. And right after Luffy climbs that gruesome climb up that mountain, carrying Nami and
His
was
fingernails.
oh geez, that fingernail scratching was the worst. That it still made my fingers hurt. He makes that climb and he wakes up and he's hungry. And the first thing he does is he sees Chopper peeking out the corner and he says, "Meat!" And he goes and chases Chopper around the place for for a solid 5 minutes trying to eat him. You see a scene where he's hanging on, getting carried by Chopper, and he's got both hands on Chopper's arm, and he's biting it. He's, and then oh no, what's her name? I forgot Grandma's name. The doc.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I can't remember the witch lady. Yeah.
Yeah, the witch doctor. Anyway, she starts throwing knives at Luffy to get him to stop. I don't know why, but Luffy trying to eat Chopper as their intro was one of the funniest moments in One Piece to me.
And I think he has to like promise him he won't eat him before he like joins the crew.
He does. He does. It took a while. Chopper on his intro was a very different character than we know today. And I love some of the introduction humor.
Chopper, yeah, that's funny, and it's another recurring joke that I feel like keeps when they're like starving, maybe in Alabasta. I feel like they,
Yeah,
or maybe it's when they're on the ship too, and they haven't like eaten anything in days and can't catch any. I feel like they always like are drooling looking at Chopper. It's really messed up.
I mean,
Chopper,
they did stop it. I don't think they've still got it going, but gosh, that was one of my favorites. Anyway, that was that was my fourth pick.
that's a good pick. That's a good pick. This was the hardest part of my draft. Was this fifth pick? So I have like five different scenes that could have went for this fifth pick. They're all so funny. So we'll have to do an honorable mentions at the end of this, okay?
Okay.
But to me, similar to the introduction of Chopper, kind of going way back, one of the first times we see Ace, and he's in Alabasta, and all these people are talking about how this guy just keeled over and died while eating and talking. And then you go into like the saloon or whatever, and it's Ace just sitting there with his fork up in the air and like face down in the thing. And all the side characters are saying stuff like, "Oh no, I heard he ate a desert strawberry. It's like the most poisonous thing, and it kills you in an agonizing way. And even after you've eaten it, if you touch somebody who's eaten one of them, you die too." So all these people are thinking he's dead from eating a desert poisonous strawberry, and then they're just like crowding around him, and then all of a sudden he like wakes up and he like looks around, and he doesn't say anything. He like cleans his face with a woman's dress or something. And then he's like, "What are you guys all worked up?" And they're like, "We thought you were dead." And then he's like, "What? A bunch of comedians or what?" And then he falls back asleep, his face first. And they're like, he fell asleep again.
Narcolepsy was so real.
Yeah, that was the lead. I really liked that was early Ace. There was like a similar scene in Alabasta where like Luffy and whoever are eating, and they look to their left and it's Smoker, and they like spit all the food in his face. But
I remember that one. That was great too.
yeah, the Ace eating a desert strawberry for me is my fifth pick.
The desert strawberry. That's got to be an underrated one. I doubt that would make many people's lists, and I'm glad that it made yours.
Hey, you got I did deep research, man.
Yeah, clearly that's a lot.
All right, give me your fifth and final pick.
There was so many to choose from for this pick. I had to think about it real long and hard, and I'm still not sure confident in this guy, but I like it so much that I got to go with it. I'm going to Punk Hazard, specifically the time where Trafalgar Law switches everyone's bodies, and you have Sanji and Navi's body like, just freaking out in the classic Sanji ways. You have Chopper in Frankie's body trying to understand how to go from a deer to a robot. You have the body switching in Punk Hazard was one of my favorite moments in One Piece, and it's so fun seeing all of the characters play out in different bodies for a minute, but they don't know how to use each other's abilities, so they're all kind of useless and worthless. So they're scared at the same time. And,
I'm convinced
uh,
Oda wrote Law's power to do that just so he can put Sanji in Nami's body. I'm con-
I wouldn't be surprised if that was how it started out. How do I get Sanji in Nami's body without being too weird? We'll just switch everyone.
yeah, that's a good scene. That's a good fifth pick. That's solid. That's solid.
Thanks, man. There's so many more that I could have picked, but that one was very memorable to me. He's never done anything like that.
Let's see here. Law, Switch Bodies, and Punk Hazard. I gotta write it down. Um, all right, all right. We got it here. We'll throw it up at the end of the video.
Oh yeah.
Or not if we don't figure it out. Uh, let's
We'll
see.
figure it out.
I got some honorable mentions that I think we should go through. If I'm sure you got a list of some more too.
Yeah, I do. We definitely got a few we can go through.
All right. I'm just gonna kind of go down my rest of my list. Like we can maybe alternate if you want.
Okay, let's go for it.
Yeah, yeah. In Whole Cake Island, when they're getting retrieving Brooke from Big Mom who's sleeping.
Oh no, I forgot about that.
That whole scene is so funny. Like little flies going around the room, and then it gets absolutely destroyed by like a lightning bolt and a sword, and Big Mom like hits it. Uh, and she's sleeping with Brooke, yeah, like in her hand, like and they're just trying to save him from the mirror realm. Uh, but specifically, the moment I like the best is when it shows Nami's attempt to save him, and she like has this fake Brooke body, and she goes to like get him, and she like wakes him up a little bit, and like as he's coming to, he sees Nami's face, and then like over Nami's face, he sees like his own fake body, like a skeleton, and then he screams because he's scared of himself. That's a good moment right there.
That is such an underrated moment. That's so hard.
Yeah. Give me a moment from you.
Oh gosh, there's so many. So I think one of my favorites that we didn't mention, and it's actually weird that we didn't mention this, but it was the time that nobody drafted this pick. That's crazy. Um, Sanji and Fishman Island wakes up to find himself in the breasts of a mermaid. And his nosebleed is so bad he has to go to a doctor for a transfusion. I can't believe nobody drafted that.
This is for that scene. he's like kind of unconscious or not sure where he's at, and he's like, "Well, what is this? It's so warm. It's like, it's so soft. What material is this?" And then he finds out he's in a beautiful mermaid's bosom, and then he like shoots himself into the air with blood.
Just skyrockets. He's flailing around.
That's the first time like the perverted like anime trope has actually made it a point in the series as like a story beat. Like they
It's an
use
actual
that
plot
to
point.
tell the
It's an
story.
actual plot point.
Yeah, he was gonna die. That was good.
Oh man.
That was on my list too. Is like later in the round. Yeah.
Yeah.
An underrated moment for me too was Whiskey Peak. Um,
Mm.
so the people like feed them a ton of food, and then they fall asleep, and Luffy has eaten like just all the food that he could. He's like so happy, and if you feed Luffy, it's like the nicest thing you can do. And then they were going to assassinate them while they were sleeping or whatever, the members of Whiskey Peak, because they're all undercover agents. And Zoro wakes up and he like stops them from doing it, and he like starts cutting down everybody, like all 100 people or whatever on the island. And then Luffy gets up and he sees like just some random Joe Schmo who's injured, and he's like, "Oh no, who did this to you?" And they're like, "The swordsman, Zoro," or whatever. And he's like, and then Luffy's just irrationally angry at Zoro, and he like fights him. Like he's like, "I'm gonna kill you, Zoro. These people fed us," and Zoro can't even explain. I love that scene so much.
I have problems with that scene, and I think if you take it as purely funny, I agree, it's hilarious. Um, I didn't think it stuck true to Luffy's character at the time, which made it a little. But I didn't think about that until after, so I still thought it was funny. But I was like, man, it's just weird that Luffy was trying to kill Zoro and wouldn't believe him over the random people.
Yeah, yeah.
So I
It goes
have some personal
crew,
gripes with that one.
crewmates. Like, food's above crew, man.
That's true. He does. Food is above his crew sometimes. He doesn't try to eat Chopper.
Let's see here. Oh, you know what other moment was funny that such a small moment that I think only you and I liked because we watched it together
What
was
was
like
that?
one of the homies from Big Mom, Randolph.
Randolph.
Whenever you get caught doing something, and be like, "It was his idea." Like did it like 4 times.
He's got the one line. That's all he had. It was his idea. And I love it. Randolph was great. I miss
Yeah.
Randolph.
You
All
got
more Randolph in my life.
any other honorable mentions? Because I got like five more, man.
Oh, I got more. So honorable mention, but I'm just gonna play off my earlier one. Soge King. One of Soge King's greatest moments, aside from his intro, is when they're fighting CP9, and Zoro and Usopp get handcuffed together and they can't move. And their plan to fix this problem is for Zoro to use Usopp as a sword attached to his arm. And you see Usopp straight with the sword held like this, going straight up, and he goes, shing! Makes the blade noise with his mouth. That moment was so. I don't know what made that so funny, actually, but it was great. I loved Soge.
Good one. I feel like you should just add that to your Sogi King total pick. Like that.
It kind of is. It kind of is. That's why it had to be an honorable mention.
Yeah, yeah. You got to let the viewers know so that they can vote you the winner because of that.
It counts. It counts towards the number evidence.
Let's see,
Got anything else?
Yeah, oh yeah, I got a few more. I'll just pick like my few favorites here to finish it up. But when they were leaving Alabasta and Vivi didn't join, and like the only one that like understood was Zoro, so like the whole crew's mad at Zoro, and
Boy.
they're like Nami's mad, and then like I forget, like Sanji says like Moss head, and then it goes to Luffy and he's like three sword style. And then Usopp's like, that's not an insult, that's just his technique. And then and then Luffy's like, four sword style. It's dumb, but it gets me every time.
That's a good one. I forgot about that joke too. Luffy's
Yeah, yeah.
one-liners are pretty great.
Oh, you
You can
can't
actually
forget
remember.
about Luffy singing in Jaya too.
Oh, no.
Yeah, the Baka song. Just
Oh God, how did it go?
he's like people from the North Blue. They're cold and they freeze, and then he's like because they're all idiots. He just
The
sings that
islands of
every
the north
scene.
are cold, and they get very snowy. They're really chilly, chilly. They're really, and they're idiots.
That's it. I do think that one's funnier in sub. Like just the way that like the accent is like comes out. It just sounds like a it sounds like a better song. Um,
I
that's
can't sing
good.
that one though.
Let's see here. These are such small moments now, but when Luffy has to be the chore boy for the Baratier, and
Yeah.
he's like washing dishes because they're like you need to do something. And they put him in. He's washing dishes. And he's just breaking dish after dish. And they're like chore boy, what are you doing? How many dishes have you broken? And he's like, oh no, I forgot to keep count. It's just
We just need to compile a list of Luffy's best one-liners.
oh yeah, no, that's the problem. There's just so many one-liners that are so funny. Like one more, then I'm done. I swear, one more. It was at the end of Punk Hazard when they're forming the not the end, but kind of the middle when they're forming the alliance between Law and Luffy, and Robin warns them. She's like, Luffy, like pirate alliances are notoriously a lot of betrayals and stuff, and I worry about you because you're such a trusting person. And then Luffy just like plainly asks Law, he's like, hey, are you gonna betray me? And Law's like, no. And he's like, sounds good. uh, oh man, and we forgot too the whole Garp telling Luffy about his father part. I feel like we've talked about that for so long.
Oh God, Water 7. But that's technically after. Still, yeah, and Garp showing up and that story, mostly just the crew's reaction to finding out who Luffy was.
I
It's
thought
like I agree.
the best part is when Luffy's like, "I have a dad." Like he didn't even know like how people are born. He just was like, "Oh, I didn't know I would have a dad." Wow, okay, that's pretty good.
That was I love just seeing everyone's reaction, being like, "Yeah, and he's a dragon," and your grandpa's Garp. Holy! The whole crew is just like progressively more shocked every single time Garp talks.
And then Garp's like, "Ooh, I probably shouldn't have told you that." Like,
As he's picking his nose.
yeah, yeah, yeah. He's a,
Oh, I probably should have told you that.
yeah, it's classic. Right, man.
Classic Garp. That's a great. Those are some great moments, man. There's so many in One Piece. Do we got any more we want to share?
I could keep going on and on, but
We
over
probably could go
next
forever on
couple
something like
hours,
this.
I'm gonna get just so many funny moments. It was fun.
That was great. I love doing that. This was so fun. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching Nakama News. Let us know who you thought won this draft down below in the comments. And check out our social medias. We're at the Nakama News on Twitter, Instagram, maybe TikTok. If not, it's coming.
It's there.
And you guys have a great day.
All right.
See you next time.